We're up and active. Hello. Just trying to get this a little bit straighter. Hello. I'm back. I missed last month and probably due a haircut. Look. Month goes by. I haven't looked at myself on screen for a while, so I'm due a haircut. And that's probably going to happen later this week. That's tomorrow. Tomorrow. Haircut tomorrow. I'll look much better tomorrow. We should have done it yesterday for my Q&A. Good to be back. Probably a few questions and comments, which I don't want to dwell too much on, is about how my back's going. I'm a bit active. I get a bit sore if I do too much lifting, which I'm not allowed to do much lifting. We are 5 weeks and 2 days since the incident, so another week. I've got an X-ray at the end of next week, just to clarify everything on the vertebrae. I just got muscle, but it's probably good that I got muscle pain, muscle ache. When I do a bit, I get achy, so I need to sit in my chair or lay in bed for a little bit just to rectify that. But it's probably, as I was saying, it's probably good that I have the ache. Otherwise, I would keep doing stuff that might be damaging. So the other way of looking at this, yes, I'm frustrated. I've got so much to do. The property is so overgrown because I haven't done very much at all, or no one's been able to do much because I haven't been active to get it all happening. Gardens, well, you'd say it's a mess, but it's actually quite vigorous in what it's doing. The syntropic is full on. Needs a lot of attention, but it's all okay. We did a planting in the syntropic earlier. That was a good growth into that. We never got around to doing the third section. So the first section and the second section were productive. Third section is just still sitting there expressing itself with a myriad of interesting herbs. And but that's okay. The fourth section, we put a bit of corn in. I know that was crazy putting corn in over winter. We got some corn back. The sweet potato seems to be going fine in there. Haven't actually had a good look at it. We put the squashes in, but I think I harvested one squash out of that lot. It wasn't successful. So that was a winter. That was a bit of an experiment for me. Ideally, I would have had more corn in about now or before now to get another lot of corn, but obviously I haven't been able to do anything. So we've just been in standby mode, I would say.
Maintenance mode for most
I wouldn't say maintenance even.
Well,
when we're way behind in maintenance.
Trying to keep our head above water without Tom mode.
Yeah, so the crew has been wonderful holding the fort whilst I'm not around. Nikki's been fantastic. Nikki's been the main milk person, doing the milking. I still did a direction on the cows. I'm actually back to doing electric fence moves, and I'm doing a fair bit of the afternoon milking at this stage. Nikki's been doing the morning milking, and I got to stay away from the cow yard because I'll grab the shovel and start shoveling manure and things like that, which puts me out of action because I've only got a couple of hours of very light duties that I can do. Hopefully that'll be rectified in the next couple of weeks, but you never know with a back injury. Obviously, I'm a bit concerned, but what can I do? It is what it is, and we will design ourselves around it, I guess is the word of where I'm at. And I do hope that it's not going to be a serious ongoing injury. It sounded really bad. It probably was a bit bad, but in reality, I'm going pretty good, really. So right through, minimal pain, very minimal painkillers. So just get achy now. Earlier on, a bit hard to maneuver my body rolling over, but all in all, pretty good. I'm very blessed to not be. Yeah, there's so many things could have been a lot worse. It could have been seriously a lot worse. So I'm very thankful that it wasn't. I'm happy that it gave in. Nice to see you there. So another couple of weeks, and hopefully I'll be reasonably active. And because there's so much to do, the year is nearly gone. I know we just come through equinox. And in regards to that, I often make comments. It's quite funny. I was just thinking a moment ago before I came to the computer. My mum lives on the other side of Australia, and I give her a phone call not as often as I should, but always, she always tells me if it's raining or not. So she always get, of the generation, you always talk about the weather, and here I am. I quite often comment about the weather. Hopefully, you might appreciate that I discuss it more on the climate side of things because, mum says it's going to rain or it's not going to rain, but I'm talking about what is the ecosystem doing in regards to the weather or the season, and what type of seasoning are we having to see what it's expressing. Thank you. I've got a nice cup of tea and little nibblies put in front of me. And I probably did get the email in, but yeah. I would really like to sit in on your chats, but the timing is a little bit challenging for me to be up at that time. I have watched after the fact, but yeah, I can't interact, of course. So where is our season at? We've had an extended, like, I'm still in a woolly shirt. I went to town today. I got jeans on, had my boots on, um, and and I left with a jumper. And we're in October. That's well, normally I was sweating like crazy already in this month of the year. So our winter is still, it's not winter, but our wet, cold winter season has been not extremely cold, but extended. It started reasonably early and it's just gone on and on and on to the point that our grasses and stuff have only just started moving, which is great. The pasture, I was worried about the goats. I have too many goats, but I managed to get through, and the grass is starting to get keeping. It is just keeping up with the goat. So I was supposed to have a goat or two more in the freezer, and I was out of action, so I couldn't do that. And so we ran the two extra goats. So the other goats have lost a little bit. All the goats have lost a little bit of condition, but we got through. So it's not extreme amount of condition. That nice excess amount would have been great to have, but um, um, yeah, the I'm happy with that, and the cows are going okay. I offloaded some cows to adjust it on another friend's property. Sadly, we lost one. We don't know what happened there. It's a snake bite or something, maybe. So that's a bit frustrating. There's nearly 2 years of hand rearing or hand handling and training and management of a steer, and we lost him. So that's okay. We actually have excess. We've got another cow to go into the freezer. We don't need it in the freezer yet, so she's maintaining condition, possibly putting on some condition where she is, and then oh, Josiah, she's probably due. Her adjustment's probably due this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So a veggie box adjustment. Um, so that was a bit disappointing to lose her and him, but we got her coming on soon. So that'll happen in the next couple of months, I suppose. We'll put another cow in the freezer. So feed wise and all that is going good. We're really pleased with that. Got the young ones coming on here. It was really interesting. We've just been maintaining because one of the parameters of how many cows I have on the property is how much manure we get, and we just got through because I took those two oldest cows off the property, and so that meant we had the original milker cow, which we're still milking, Choco, and then the young heifer, which is pregnant and on the property. So she's just over 2 years old. She is so, and then we got the two calves, which are a year old, a bit over a year old, and we're just getting our 30 kilos of manure to keep the body just going. It's really interesting juggling these parameters of getting the right amount of manure. So I had to get the cows off, so I had enough grass to get through the winter, but I still need enough manure, and we just managed it. It was really quite interesting. We've done that, so we're going to be very careful that don't waste any of the clean, fresh manure that we harvest at night, so that we can get through. So, and as the young ones are getting older, they're starting to eat more, so we're getting enough manure to do that. Okay, I'm just having a look at the chat there. I have a question that's come through, and it's day one by Charlene, session 1 and 2. Now, this is an interesting question. So, what you'll notice here is that practitioners, people, whatever, in any realms, but obviously we're in the permaculture realm, think in certain ways, and this question is not going to be easy for me to answer. And I had a chat with Zaya, and even Zaya is going to be challenged to answer it. So that will be an answer in itself, possibly. But I'll read the question. What informed Bill Mollison's development of the permaculture principles? So I'll answer that. And I'll just continue on that section. Is it influenced by principles of Indigenous stewardship? And I don't exactly know the true answer to that. I have never asked that. I've wondered it, but I've never asked that of the more of the pioneers of the permaculture movement. However, my impression of that, was just going to just get a little bit of this into me. Give me a nice bit of energy. In the manual, Bill Mollison manual, on page 278. Now let's just see if I can hold this slow still enough. This is on page 278 of the manual. This is Hawaii culture, and so that's probably a little bit textbook. So you got the ocean, which would be reef, and a lagoon, and then you got the beach, and then it comes into the forest, and then it comes into the village area, and then you have the mountain section up the top. It's a volcano, so it's probably a little bit too expressive. I think that's where Bill might have got his 5 zoning concept from. So that in the principles of the zones, I think that's where he might have got that, because that's what you see in there. So zone 5 is that top section there, which was taboo. So that's your forest, and that's feeding the rest of the system. The energy coming by gravity and rainfall coming down the rest of the system. So I think that's where you might have got the zoning from. So just say that again. That's page. It's going to be in reverse there. So 278. Reverse to me anyhow. 278. And that's Hawaii. So now I just started reading. Zai, can you grab that? Or did you bring it out of the car? The Just Enough book. Didn't I bring that out? I don't think I did. Might still be on the day. I just been asking for a while for the book called Just Enough by Abby Brown, is it? Just Enough. It's about the Edo culture. Do you want to type that in? And I'm pretty sure it's Asby Brown. Asby Brown. Just Enough. The Edo culture. I've got it. Say it again.
What's the name?
Asby. I think it's Azby. Asby. Can you just search that? The book's still in the car. I had it with me today. I got given that by the last group. We just had a PDC, and I spoke about in the PDC that I've been wanting the book for a while, and so as a gift to me at the end of the course, they banded together and bought the book for me, and it came the other day, which is, I think it's Asby Brown. Yeah, you just want to check that?
Yeah, it is. I've got it.
Hey.
Yeah, it's there already.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure it's Asby Brown.
Yeah, I've looked it up.
Oh, thank you. And it's about the Edo culture. So in about 1600, I think it's 1603, so about for 160 odd years, there was an era, and I think it actually goes longer. I haven't read the whole book yet to get the whole information, but only basically started. But I got introduced to it a few years ago by one of the students that was in Vanuatu with us, and it's the Japanese realized that they were living. This is before fossil fuel energies we could get whatever we wanted from around the planet. And so they were limited to their bioregion. And at that time, I think there was 12 million Japanese, and they needed to live within their their region, because they were going to kill themselves because they were overtaxing their resources that were available to them. And so they devised a system, and that's what the book's about. And it's called the Edo Period. Edo was Tokyo, and actually says in their comment about Bill Mollison, I don't remember the specific words, but Bill Mollison got some, and I think it was from a book from earlier. And so maybe that's where some of the Bill Mollison principle comes from as well. From that, I can't. It's someone King, I think that book was. That's why I wish I had the book with me. It's in the car, so not quite here. And so maybe that's where he got it from. But yes, it is. Is it influenced by principles of Indigenous stewardship? And yes, I'd say it would be, because you're going to have to look back at patterns that functioned, and so what villages, how villages worked, how cultures worked, and how they functioned in their bioregion without with minimal external inputs, which is like a trade by canoe or by foot or some methodology to get your resources to you, and that would have been on a trade. Okay, I'll continue on with her next question. Is social permaculture application of the principles to social context? I work in mental health, so I notice many parallels for mental health, socio-cultural well-being, and social justice, particularly important for this moment in the world. So the social permaculture, I haven't been following social permaculture. I don't comprehend it, the how it functions, the social permaculture application. But as Zai and I were just discussing previously, Zai mentioned that it's basically the people care side of things, and so the people care. Say again. People care ethic. That's right. Yeah. So of the three ethics, so earth care, people care, and fair share, and so me being a quite practical person, I don't over evaluate things. I work on functionality. Things need to function, and when they function, they give you. So the functionality of something is a resource. So if you're not into very good people care, your system, your social system, I guess, doesn't function. And so let's be sensible about it. Make sure your people are happy and comfortable in the scenario, and then our biggest one of our let's say the word issues that we have with our property, because we're meat eaters, is the use of animals in our system. And so we have to be conscious of that. If some people come in the system and they have an issue with that, we have to discuss and explain the function of the animals in our system, and then why we work with the animals in our system. And so that so you have to you have to be you have to be, I'm not going to say careful, but you need to appreciate where people are at, and then work them through that. I had a small interaction with someone. One of the students was here, stayed on for a little bit, helped, and I had to have an interaction with the animal because it wasn't working, it wasn't functioning, and she was very challenged with that. But we had a conversation about it, and it's all fine as long as that's who I was aware that this, for me, it's not a big issue of how I was dealing with animal, because I've been brought up with animals, and we've always had sheep. Sheep. A lot of people say sheep are stupid. I think they're not stupid. I haven't worked with sheep for a while, but I've worked with sheep a lot. And once I started doing organics, I stopped having as much issue with animals, got away from the chemical use, which is a weird sort of thing. But in hindsight, I'm very aware of that. And the sheep became more comfortable, and I became comfortable working with the sheep. So I worked in harmony with them instead of hating them, which a lot of sheep farmers hate sheep, which is ridiculous. So I studied the sheep, not real well. I'm not a sheep whisperer or a cow whisperer or anything like that. But you observe your animal, and then then you basically treat them like children. You have to discipline, or you have to educate. So that's just I'm probably getting a little bit off topic with that, but anyhow. Sure. So there's many parallels, and I really like Jeff Lawton's statement that all the world's problems can be solved in a garden. And so, there's so many levels of how a healthy, organic, well-designed garden is assistant to you. I get rid of a lot of anger by weeding. That's so if I'm angry, go weeding. You'll find I'm weeding, and I haven't even intended to. There's weeds flying everywhere when I get angry. I burn that energy into the weeding side of things. That's quite interesting. But so I'm, instead of going and getting in someone's face or whatever, I just burn that energy off in the garden. That's, and then afterwards I feel good. I've achieved something. I've gone through the process of thinking about what happened, to get me into that state, and the weeding's done. Yay, that's beauty. That's a solution. I think it's a great solution. So
Reading is my meditation.
Zaya says meditation. Quite often, if I'm not angry and I'm weeding, it's meditation. That's time out. I can't sit still, so meditation's hard for me to do. I just go weeding or go pruning. Pruning. I have trouble harvesting bananas. I end up maintaining the bananas more than harvesting the bananas. It's therapeutic, and the mental health side of it, and then was it socio-cultural? Ooh, that's a word that I haven't analysed. And social justice. For me, functionality. All the world's problems can be solved in the garden. There you go. So you got healthy food, you got clean air, you got clean water. So you're in a healthy environment. You're achieving something for the day. For me, if I haven't achieved something for the day, I haven't had a good day. I achieved something today. I had a really good rest. We had to go to town. I came back and I needed to have a rest. I wasn't even hurting, but I just knew I need to lay down and have a rest. And I couldn't wake up. I was out for a couple of hours, wasn't I? That's a good achievement for me because I needed a rest. My body needs a rest. I'm in the healing phase. A great achievement for me. This morning what did I do this morning? I harvested mulberries. So I've got something to do. But yeah. I know it's a real frustrating time for me at the moment because I've got building I really want to do, and I can't because I'm out of action.
With the social thing, I think if you really truly understand people care and respect people and look after people, and looking after people means not mollycoddling them or always letting them do what they want, but actually constructively empowering them, and making sure that they're looked after, but they also can look after themselves. That is, for me, social permaculture. It's not
Sitting around holding hands.
Yeah, it's not sitting around holding hands and I mean, that's lovely and all, and some people need that, and it's part of their development phase, or it's part of their being, to be in that sort of environment. But I think that if you are just respectful for other people and really understand that people care is part of the whole permaculture umbrella, that is social permaculture in its own, and it doesn't need to go off into its own little tangent, so to speak. That's just my 2 bobs worth, I guess.
Thanks, Si. 2 bobs worth. So thanks for your question, Charlene. Maybe we haven't addressed the question because honestly, it's a language I don't use. I know what a garden fork is. That's my practical side. So maybe other people can help you with that. Um, okay, Finn's got a comment on that, and I'm not sure where there's Finn's made a couple of comments there, and I'm not sure where it's coming from. So maybe it's this topic. Um, I've got another question coming down from Al Sam. If you put the word social in front of it, become a travesty of the original idea. Social justice, not justice. Like social democracy is not democracy. So this is all language that democracy and communism. I have no idea. Apparently, we're living in a democratic country, but I don't know about that. I don't. It's the hidden structure side of things, and this is where I don't have a talent for. I'm not going to call it a failing. It's an area that I don't have a comprehension of. So I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, we got another question here. Permaculture question. I want to plant fruit trees on the south-facing slope that's regularly very waterlogged in Australia on the Sunshine Coast. So, want to plant fruit trees on the south that's regularly very waterlogged. So, on the south-facing, you are not getting so much sunlight. So, maybe you can elaborate a bit more. So, the main point on that is sunlight and wet. It's not drying out with the sunshine. You're going to have sort of synthesis issues. So you're going to need to put your biggest, tallest trees the furthest away from the sun, so that the shorter trees can get the sun. So they're not shading the shorter trees. So that's you're looking at the form of those trees. The water logging. So you get on. So you got a slope there. So you're going to get some contours in there. Work on contour. So the mound is going to give you a little bit of dry feet. You plant your fruit trees on the mound of a swale, and then you can manage your water, and you're going to get that drainage. You're going to mound it above, so there's going to be slight drainage because of being on the mound. And then you can manage your water if it's continued. You don't want to hold too much water in those swales, so minimize the depth of the water holding capacity of the swale, so that the water can get away rather than hold there for too long. You will have dry spells. I don't exactly know what your property is. Have you? Small block, open grassed area, approximately 2 acres.
It's on the Sunshine Coast.
It's on the sunny coast. So yeah. So that's in the southern hemisphere. So we got a north. The winter sun's in the north. So, okay, I've got to jump away from that one for a moment. Non-political. Okay. I remember Mollison warning not to involve one's personal opinions in permaculture. Fair enough. Yeah. Okay, so Sam, so do you comprehend what I'm saying about get your taller trees more to the south, so that you can let the light into the shorter trees? It depends how steep that slope is, and yes, you will have a wetter slope on that south facing slope. You will have that. Rightio. Just if you want some more info, just throw in another question. Sam, Al. How you advise a new startup permaculture farm surrounded by chemical farms and the farms on a slope and an existing mango orchard? Whoa, that's a fair bit in that one.
Not fruiting orchard.
And an existing mango and not fruiting. Where are you, AO Simon? Hang about? No.
So they don't blossom either.
Oh, do they blossom? Oh, sorry, I missed Finn's one there.
Yeah.
Where are you? So we can get a bit more an idea. Chemical farms is always a bit of fun. Antigua. Right, that's going to throw me. Zai, can you give me a quick reference on Antigua? Maybe I can do it. Maybe I can do it here. Come on, load already. Thank you. In the Caribbean.
Yeah, Caribbean. That's what I thought.
Rightio, so not far from Guadeloupe. Oh, okay. Yeah, rightio. So you should have the right climate. So I'm not sure why they're not
Well, it's surrounded by chemical farms.
Yeah, whether they are getting the influence. So with the chemical situation, you might be getting imbalance in mineral availability more than likely. Because as soon as you do start doing chemical, you throw out the I'm going to use the word the mineral
Soil balance.
soil balance. So there's a chemical interaction with all your minerals, and once you start throwing fertilizers around, now new startup permaculture. So it's was it a chemical farm beforehand? Can you answer that? Was it, so has it been organic, or is it's still chemical? Um, Now, so my comment on that is you're going to analyze that chemical, but when we have, what does nature need to manage that toxin that's coming in? So it's chemical farm. So you need to get as much organic matter in there as you can, and because carbon is a sponge and it's going to absorb that problem. And also, nature's amazing, and when it knows what to do, we just got to create a space for it to do it. We might not always comprehend what needs to be done, but nature does. It might take a while. If we do know what it needs, then we can accelerate that. One of Bill Mollison's principles is accelerate to where we need to get to. Um, the best acceleration is carbon. So wood chip. So whenever you do any pruning, you possibly got some sick trees or whatever. You might have big trees or whatever. You're going to need wood chip. Get that wood chip on the ground. That's carbon to absorb, and then it's creating a soil ecology. Now you're in the tropics. You're going to have you got the big ocean influence there more than the Caribbean, or depending on where you are on your island. I'm not sure what the size of that is, but you got warm water, and you got warm, and you are, where's my latitude? So you're at 16, something like 16 north. So with the tropics, it's fast turnover of organic matter, um, and you might need to introduce a support species so you can speed it up, to speed up that ecology. Have you looked at syntropic? So can you just quickly type in syntropic? If you looked at syntropic, if you can get a comprehension of what syntropic methodology is, it's and these are the critical. I'll get Zaya to put that in as well. You need biodiversity, you need biomass, and you need accumulated organic matter. That's what forests love, and more so in the tropics than in the temperate. Um, we still need those in the temperate as well, but more so in the tropics because it's a very, very fast breakdown of the material. So you have a lot of softer materials in the vegetative growth, and they rot really fast. And so it's a fast ecology turnover, and it's above the soil. You've got more ecology above the soil than you have in the soil in the tropics. And so you need to create that space for nature to work, which is above the ground. It will work in the ground, but at a smaller percentage. You're probably going to have about 15% of your biology is in the soil, and the rest is above the ground. You need that biodiversity, so you need to get support species in there, and legumes, fast growing, quick breakdown legumes in that system. So with the syntropic methodology, you're going to put these fast growing biomass plants in between, which might be bananas, and you could eucalyptus. Depends how far you want to go with that. And then you're creating a space for the soil ecology to work. And what it'll do is it'll tie up the toxins, and then you got to get rid of that chemical methodology, which you're obviously aware of, to make the comment, and transition into an organic. But when the organic, you need. I'll go back to saying again, you need to tie it up in the carbon, and make it inert in the carbon, and then also the balance that's needed will come in there. Now, I don't know what your pH is going to be. You're going to be volcanic. So you never you. I don't know what your pH is going to be, but I'll just give you a comment about Vanuatu. I did a soil test in Vanuatu just back from the beach, and the pH was 7.5, so it's slightly alkaline. When 100 meters into the bush, and it was 6.5. So and what, no one had added anything there. So what had done it is is the ecology of the forest, living and dying, living and dying, living and dying. So you build up the organic matter, which is your carbon, and then it neutralized at the 6.5. So nature knows what to do. So you help that by with your intent. If you don't have an intention, you don't know where you're going to end up. So you need an intent, and you're going to accelerate and try and work with nature as much as you can. Around your property, so you've got this influence coming on the exterior. So maybe sacrifice some of the edge of your property into a sacrificial, I guess, tree line, as much biomass as you can, to minimize the drift if they're using sprays, even if it's bamboo, just a big thick thing of bamboo, or some species, or huge legume plants, big legume plants, thick and bushy, to give you a physical wind barrier to minimize that material going in. And you're on high biomass because it's going to hit those trees and land on the rain that's going to fall on the ground. And so it's going to get tied up into that space there, so that your property is going to be managed. You might need to do earthworks to divert runoff. Usually we're trying to harvest water as much as we can, but if that water is toxic, you don't want it. So you're going to want to do earthworks to divert that water away from your property without causing major erosion issues and things like that, of course. Which you're going to have high rainfall, you got monsoon, or you got hurricanes coming through that area. So you have to be cautious of that. So I'm not sure what your topography is like. So if you've got steep land, then you're going to have issues. So you're going to minimize that impact coming in, and you're trying to neutralize or stabilize the system that you got. You got any comments on that, Zaya?
No. I was just going to ask about runoff, but you've already covered it.
Yeah. So I mentioned about the syntropic. I'm not sure if you've done any study on the syntropic. That with the syntropic, they're bringing in the importers. So they're importing energy, because if you get lucky enough to get around to selling mangoes, that's export. But you need so that's energy leaving. So you need importers to balance that out, and that's what the concept behind, it's many concepts behind the syntropic methodology, but that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to import energy. So that's what the bananas, you might never harvest the bananas. That's not your intention. You can harvest bananas if that's what you want to get into, diversity of crops. You can do the bananas, and I do recommend that. So any spaces in your orchard, you get other things growing, so you have other economies going while you're trying to get the mangoes back on. But you can just grow the mangoes for biomass. So you just keep, once they get up and you've got more suckers coming up, stable suckers coming up. Bananas for biomass, yeah. So you're using the stalks as biomass, and just chop it and get it on the ground, get it on the ground. So you're building a forest floor. Remember, a forest lives on a fallen forest. So you're that accumulated organic matter for the ecology above the soil, which is in your tropics. Okay, how am I going with that? There's that. You think I've covered that? How's my comments there, Ayo? In the Caribbean, Antigua and Barbuda. Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you have any further questions, Ayo, just type it back in.
We got a visitor.
Yeah.
Hi. Okay, thank you. The runoff is bad due to land practice of some surrounding farmers, and I have tried the banana. How you going, girl? Just Nikki's dropped in. So cool. So the runoff, try and minimize that. Try and utilize that. Try and minimize that, depending on your decisions on that. And yeah, just continue on with that. I hope I helped you there. So you get that. Hopefully, you're getting a bit of a picture of what may be needed, and then and get it going. Or yeah, to harvest the thin saying, harvest the matter that's coming in. It just depends on the status of that, and also it's going to be coming in through in big deluges, and that's always an issue. So it's going to depend on that. Maybe maybe send us an email with a little bit more detail, perhaps, because
Would it
I'm
be
intrigued.
possible for vetiver grass to actually dilute some of that stuff?
Yeah, the vetiver grass is a good idea. Did we mention vetiver grass, or did you mention vetiver grass?
No, we didn't.
Vetiver grass is really, really helpful. It's another biodiversity biomass plant, and a really good root system. So it's really good on stabilizing or something similar. And yeah, just find plants that you feel is going to help for you. So you determine what you need and work towards what you need. And you obviously don't focus on the chemicals because you don't want them, but focus on what you need. I think your comments there saying you're getting to there. And the vetiver used a lot in Fiji, and really, really valuable plant. We use it a bit here too. We just did some thatch. This comment I can make as well. We had some volunteers, or some of the students from the PDC. It was a great PDC, by the way. I meant to comment on that. We did the 2-week PDC. We thought we'd have to cancel it because I wasn't well. But I thought one of the ways for me to not go on loopy and do something constructive while basically pretty much the first 2 weeks of my situation, we did the PDC. So the team were great. We had 15 students here. The team were great. They were helped out quite a bit. So I didn't have to do anything physical, and all I have to do is just teach. I got a bit sore, but we managed to get through it quite well. I don't think I did any damage by doing that to myself. Hopefully. Yeah, it went really well, and we still have volunteers coming back from that. And then one of the projects they wanted to do and needed to be done was put the thatch over their humanure vault one of the humanure bank, and the thatch has been made. And then next Monday we'll be starting to put the thatch back onto the humanure bank because the previous mount, and it's vetiver grass. We're using vetiver grass, so it's been great to have that assistance. So a few of the students came back, and others have helped as well, and some friends drop in and help. And so the thatch is ready to go. I didn't have to do any of it. I just give this bit of instruction, and then I left them to it.
It wasn't just vetiver grass; it was held or bound together with galangal stalk.
So to get the thatch to attach to the strips of which I used hardwood strips that I'd previously cut. We did use bamboo the first time, but the bamboo is possibly one of the first things to deteriorate in that roof. So I've gone to the hardwood strips. When I was doing some milling last year, I cut some strips up ready for it. And to attach it, we used to use a organic twine of some kind, but you need quite a bit to tie so many on. We had I can't remember exact details on that, but so as I just said, I've been noticing that whenever I do the whippersnipping and I hit the galangal with the whippersnipper, it just instantly stops the whippersnipper. It just blocks it up straight away. Okay, so this is a tough material. So we've cut the stems of that into strips, peeled off the outer layer, and then inside's quite stringy, and we've used that. So we're basically experimenting. So we're going to see how well that goes. So that's fun. Everyone really enjoyed doing that.
I love experimenting.
And it's a natural fibre, so it's here on the property. Resource growing on the property. That galangal has been planted along the road verge on the fence line to stop dust and animals, and we have the bush turkey wandering, so it stops bush turkeys coming in. So I put that up as a physical barrier, and also minimize the dust, and it minimizes how much grass grows between, because there's a row of bananas there as well, and it's quite abundant there. It's actually encroaching into the property a little bit. So let's trim a bit of that, and just see if we can use it as a twine, and should be good. So I'll try and get some, once that's going, I'll get some photos up on Facebook, on the Permaculture page, and we should get some photos of the thatch done. I don't know if they took any while they were making it. Maybe Nikki took something. I'm not sure. And so that's fun. I'm really going to be really excited with the twining. Now, when you have a strip here and a strip there, and you put the thatch around like that and tie it on, the the underbit sits on the other one. So it doesn't matter if the twine deteriorates. So that's what the jute twine I think we used last time. So it just deteriorated after a period of time, but it's still, the thatch stayed there quite intact, as long as you don't disturb it too much. So yeah. And Finn saying thatch roof, no way. Well, I came back from Vanuatu and we were going to put the roof on the human manure. This is quite a few years ago, 7 years ago, to be a fact. So we've had to replace it. And I was going to put a tin roof on it, and I says, hang about, suggesting to the Nevans, the people in Vanuatu, to stay with the thatch, and here I'm coming home going to put on a tin roof, a metal roof. I said, why aren't I doing a natural roof? And so I changed the design and found we had plenty of vetiver grass, and we used the vetiver grass as a thatch. I didn't know they would work, and then when I did go to Fiji a couple of years later, I saw that they'd done thatch in Fiji with the vetiver grass. So obviously it's a winner, and we got 5 years basically of good function from the vetiver grass, and so every 5 years needs to be replaced. The second bay, the second vault we call it, needs to be redone as well, but we'll do that soon. The project is money for the landfill to create a green barrier between the landfill.
That's the current project on the island for vetiver grass.
Oh, I missed that first comment up there. Okay, it's a current project in the island of the vetiver grass. Because
yeah, we've got another commitment.
We've got another commitment. Got a meeting on in 10 minutes, so I'll have to go to that. So thanks, guys. Thanks for your comments and questions and being here. It's fun and those questions have been great. AO can send us more information if you want. Send us an email and yeah, thanks, Finn. I saw your comment earlier up, Finn, so we'll see what we can do there. All right, I'll get to head off, shut down, and get on to our other meeting. And great to be back. And hopefully, in a month's time, I'll be having some projects underway. Because
looking at
fencing could be done, and yeah, we're way behind on the fencing, and it won't be long. We'll be there. I'll just make a quick comment. We haven't had a dry. This time of the year is usually our dry. So we've been, because we had a very wet season, and like very wet, problematic wet, but okay. And it's been extended. We haven't had a cold winter. It's been cool, but extended winter. And we've been getting more rain. So we had 48 mil last week. We had 24 mil the week before. We got a few showers coming in the next few days, apparently. So we haven't had a dry. So will we have an early wet? And that's concerning because I still haven't finished my rectification earthwork. So I'm hoping to be able to get on my machine in about 4 weeks' time and do that, what I needs to be done. Okay. Thanks for being part of it, guys. And we'll talk soon. And because I've got this other meeting I've got to get to. Thank you very much. Talk soon.